During her testimony against her estranged husband, David Ean, Jenelle Evans disclosed a great deal of terrible information related to the case. The information that Jenelle disclosed led her followers to believe that she ought to be regarded an accomplice. It appeared as though she was enabling him, and this has resulted in a great deal of trauma. What exactly did Jenelle have to say about her previous partner? Continue reading for further information. A statement made by Jenelle Evans against her ex: "Never in a million years would anyone dare to meddle with David Ean." The fact that he and Jenelle Evans had a relationship that was known to be volatile led to their termination from their roles on Teen Mom. In the year 2019, he was responsible for the death of their dog, Nugget, which was the turning point for MTV. Over the course of the subsequent 5 years, they continued to accuse one another of various things, yet they continued to be together regardless of how terrible things got. It was in September 2023 when Jace, Jenelle's kid, made the accusation that David had abused him, which ultimately led to him fleeing for the third time in the span of 2 months. In spite of the involvement of CPUS, not much transpired. As soon as Jace was brought back to Jenelle, she parted ways with David, resigned from her position at MTV, and relocated her family to Las Vegas. Despite the fact that she began dating August Keene, her business manager, things did not improve for her within that organization. "It is a serious situation," he called the police on her, and Child Protective Services is allegedly involved once more. Despite this, Jenelle was facing the challenge of dealing with David in North Carolina. According to Nathan Griffith, the father of her son Kaiser, David attacked both of the boys to the point that they were brought to the edge of bloodshed. In other words, what transpired during Jenelle's testimony? A terrible description of the event was provided by the Ashley's Reality Roundup. At the time of her testimony, which took place in August, Jenelle Evans stated that she discovered a memory card that had been taken from David's phone. According to the allegations, there was content on them that related to the sexual exploitation of a minor. Until he had a psychological evaluation, she did not want him to be in the same room as their daughter, Ensley, who was 7 years old. Jenelle had disclosed that she was the legal guardian of their kid, but she did not elaborate on the reasons behind this decision. At this point, everything makes perfect sense. It was made abundantly obvious by the mother of 3 that she shared her proof with police, FBI, and custody court, despite the fact that this matter was not brought up in the courts. Focusing solely on the children, following this, people became increasingly concerned for Jenelle Evans' children after reading about it and even listening to the audio copy of it. The fact that Jenelle remained to live with David despite the fact that they were exposed to this environment was incomprehensible to them. What's more, you remained with him. Therefore, you are a participant in the crime. The FFS. This kind of abuse was suspected according to Ensley's Child Protective Services report, right? When I think of those children, my heart breaks. G and David are both filthy little scumbags. A check was made for both physical and sexual abuse, but it did not specify which had occurred. Wait, what exactly is this? Although it's a lot of fun to make fun of Jenelle, this is a serious matter. I really hope that she is just lying about this, because if she is, then the situation for those children is far more dire than I had anticipated. Despite the fact that this is such a delicate matter, we can only hope that the courts will take it very seriously and look out for Jenelle's 3 children. It has been so difficult throughout the entire process, and it is completely awful that they have not been responsible for it in any way. I am curious as to your thoughts regarding the horrific truth that Jenelle has disclosed. What's more, do you believe that she was aware of it the whole time, but continued to stay regardless? Post your thoughts in the comments section below. In a shocking turn of events, former Teen Mom star Jenelle Evans found herself thrust into the spotlight once again, but this time not for her usual reality TV drama or social media controversy. Instead, the 32-year-old was testifying in a courtroom against her ex-husband, Courtland Rogers, in a case that has rocked both the reality TV world and the legal community. The testimony revealed gruesome details that have left fans and legal experts alike reeling. The case, which centers around allegations of domestic violence, has drawn intense media attention. As the estranged couple navigates the tumultuous legal landscape, Evans' testimony has been described as both heart-wrenching and chilling. Below is an in-depth look at the details of the case. Evans's emotional testimony, and the broader implications of her ordeal. The backstory: Jenelle Evans and Courtland Rogers. Jenelle Evans's tumultuous life has been a subject of public scrutiny for years. Known for her role on MTV's Teen Mom 2, Evans' personal life has often been a focal point for the media. Over the course of her time on the show, she struggled with addiction, difficult relationships, and legal battles. Her marriage to Courtland Rogers, a man she married in 2012, was marked by instability and turmoil. The pair had one child together, a son named Jace, before they ultimately split in 2014. Though their marriage was short-lived, it was riddled with allegations of abuse, substance use, and emotional distress. Both Evans and Rogers were involved in various legal issues during their relationship, and many fans of the show watched as their marriage fell apart on screen. The separation was bitter, but what followed would be even more troubling. The allegations: a history of abuse. Courtland Rogers has long been accused of mistreating his partners, and Evans's testimony sheds light on the gravity of these allegations. In recent years, more information has come to light regarding the darker aspects of their relationship, culminating in the recent legal proceedings. Evans has stated that Rogers subjected her to physical and emotional abuse throughout their time together. Though she initially hesitated to speak out publicly, the current legal case forced her to confront these traumatic memories. Evans's detailed testimony during the trial revealed shocking instances of abuse. She described how Rogers would often become violent during their arguments, sometimes throwing objects or physically restraining her. On multiple occasions, she claimed that he would punch holes in walls or destroy furniture, an act she described as an attempt to intimidate and control her. In her testimony, Evans was visibly shaken as she recounted specific incidents of violence that occurred during their marriage. She described a particularly harrowing event when Rogers allegedly locked her in a room for hours, taunting her and threatening her life. According to Evans, she felt trapped and terrified, fearing for her safety. While she admitted to having her own struggles during the relationship, namely issues related to substance abuse, Evans insisted that it never justified the treatment she endured at the hands of Rogers. Her testimony painted a picture of a man who not only physically abused her but also psychologically manipulated her in a way that left deep emotional scars. Gruesome details revealed in court. During the proceedings, Evans's attorney provided harrowing details of the abuse she suffered, some of which have been described as gruesome. One particular moment of the trial has stood out as the most shocking, where Evans recounted an incident in which Rogers allegedly attempted to strangle her. According to Evans, the attack occurred during a heated argument at their home. She claimed that Rogers grabbed her by the neck, cutting off her air supply and leaving her gasping for breath. Evans recounted the terrifying feeling of being unable to breathe, with her vision blurring as she fought to free herself from his grip. She recalled how, in that moment, she thought she might die, but eventually managed to break free. The jury, visibly disturbed by the graphic nature of her testimony, listened in stunned silence as Evans described the impact the attack had on her physical and emotional health. While Jenelle Evans's personal struggles have been public for years, the details she shared in court were more chilling and graphic than anything previously known. The testimony gave the public a glimpse into the abusive nature of her relationship with Rogers and the trauma she endured. Jenelle's emotional testimony. Jenelle Evans has often been portrayed in the media as a controversial figure, with many quick to judge her for her personal choices. However, during the trial, she came across as vulnerable and emotionally raw. As she recounted the abuse, Evans' voice trembled with emotion, and her eyes welled with tears. It was clear that the pain she was describing was not just from the past, but something that still haunted her to this day. Evans spoke candidly about how the abuse had affected her sense of self-worth, how it had impacted her mental health, and how it had shaped her relationship with her children. She admitted that, in the aftermath of her marriage to Rogers, she struggled to trust others and often found herself questioning her own decisions. Throughout the testimony, Evans was careful to emphasize the psychological toll that abuse took on her. She described how the constant fear and manipulation led to feelings of isolation, depression, and anxiety. Despite this, she expressed her desire to speak out in hopes that her story would encourage others to leave abusive relationships before it was too late. The legal implications. The trial has brought to light the deep complexities of domestic abuse cases, particularly those involving high-profile individuals. While Evans's testimony has been heart-wrenching, it is also a crucial part of the case against Rogers. If convicted, Rogers could face serious legal consequences, including jail time and potential charges for assault and battery. The case is also significant because it highlights the importance of providing victims with the space and support they need to speak out. Jenelle Evans's decision to testify against her ex-husband is an act of courage that could potentially inspire others in similar situations to come forward. Domestic violence is often shrouded in secrecy, with many victims reluctant to report the abuse for fear of retaliation or shame. However, the more public figures like Evans use their platform to speak out, the more likely it is that others will feel empowered to do the same. As the case progresses, the legal teams on both sides will continue to present evidence, with Evans' testimony likely being a pivotal point in the trial. The legal community is closely watching the outcome, as it could set a significant precedent for how domestic violence cases are handled, particularly in the realm of high-profile relationships. Public reactions and support for Jenelle Evans. While Jenelle Evans's personal life has been marred by controversy and criticism, her testimony has garnered an outpouring of support from fans, fellow survivors, and advocacy groups. Many have applauded her bravery for speaking out about the abuse she suffered and using her platform to raise awareness about domestic violence. Social media has been flooded with messages of support for Evans, with fans expressing admiration for her strength in the face of adversity. Many have praised her for taking a stand against abuse and for encouraging others to break the silence. Advocacy groups that focus on domestic violence have also voiced their support for Evans, emphasizing the importance of raising awareness about the dangers of abusive relationships. According to experts, Evans's testimony is an important reminder that abuse can happen to anyone, regardless of their social status, and that victims deserve to be heard and believed. The road ahead, healing and moving forward. Jenelle Evans's testimony has marked a significant chapter in her life, one that may serve as both a turning point and a path toward healing. While the legal case against her ex-husband continues, it is clear that Evans' decision to speak out has had a profound impact not just on her own life, but on the lives of many others who have suffered in silence. For Evans, the trial is not just about seeking justice in the courtroom, it is also about reclaiming her narrative. She has spent years under the public microscope, often subjected to harsh judgment and scrutiny. Now, she has the opportunity to rewrite her story, to take ownership of her experiences, and to use her voice to empower others. Regardless of the outcome of the trial, Evans has already proven that she is much more than the controversies that have surrounded her. She is a survivor, a mother, and a woman who has fought through unimaginable hardship. As the case continues to unfold, it is clear that Jenelle Evans's courage and resilience will inspire many for years to come. In the end, the trial is about more than just legal proceedings. It is about giving a voice to the voiceless and ensuring that those who suffer in silence are never forgotten. Through her testimony, Jenelle Evans has taken a stand not only for herself but for all victims of domestic abuse who have been afraid to speak up.